Aglorev Magazine Live is brought to you by
Feroga Leilani's Energy Exchange. Express yourself without saying a word.
and
Aglorev Entertainment. Mind, body, soul, energy healing.
Welcome back to Aglorev Magazine Live, your personal compass to the cosmos and your go-to source for insights on the world's current affairs. It's our final fun Gemini season until 2033. What does that mean? A possible female influencer warning, safety tips for dating, and safety with a golden dome. And that's not a contraceptive. An American Idol gives me everything that I asked for, and love should definitely not be blind. And why? And if you are still around, I've got some serious laughs for you. So grab your favourite beverage and snuggle up to your comfort source. There are no breaks, so pay attention. This seriously affects your life. This Gemini season is starting on May 21st. I want you to chat up your victories. Mars is in Leo right now, which will be ruled by the Sun. That's moving into Gemini very soon. Cast your spells, state your victories out loud, especially if you're still finalising the direction that you want to go in. We did just have Mars turn around from a retrograde a couple of months ago. So, we're kind of fresh in this 2-year cycle of Mars being direct, figuring out our victories, where we want to be, how we're going to get there. And because it's Mars in Leo, it's very centered in the self and in your joy. This makes me happy, so this is what I want to do. That's basically the narrative from Mars in Leo. The Sun season of Taurus with Mars in Leo taught us about the growth and the rest, the resources, income, financial stuff, a great time for money magic. And now, with the Sun moving into Gemini, it's time to implement it. We just learned a lot about it. Now it's time to implement it. We will also have Jupiter in Gemini this Gemini season, amplifying good luck. This might be one of the luckiest months of the year. It's going to depend on your personal placements and what's happening in your life. But this is going to be one of the luckiest months of the year. Gemini season is. So be seen. Connect with your community, verbally, socially, meet new people. This is also going to be the final Gemini season that doesn't have the influence of Pluto, Uranus and Saturn until 2033. So we'll be seeing loads of endings with profound finality, and these will be changes to celebrate. We've made it through. We're at the end. Have some fun, because we have things to do. And in the midst of those things, some lucky stuff could happen. When Jupiter and Mars work together, it brings amazing energy. Mars is the victory. It brings strategy and a plan, illuminating your enemies so that you can protect yourself and move forward to claim what is yours. Jupiter and Mars together amplifies this energy and adds some amazing luck. Everything is better than what you were expecting. It's going to be a lucky season, but it will require you to put in the work. And you will get better than what you asked for. So have fun, because in 2026, Uranus will also be in Gemini. And Uranus is the planet of chaos, unpredictability, nature and the primordial spirits. So the Gemini seasons until 2033 will be very serious, because Uranus will be influencing Pluto, and Pluto is in Aquarius, which means secrets will be revealed. Pluto is listening to see what we truly want. What are we saying? How are we saying it? And who are we saying it to and why? We could accidentally sign ourselves up for something that we don't plan on and reap a harvest in the Scorpio season 2026. So have as much fun as you can right now, because next year will be more serious. Pluto just transitioned into Aquarius for the next 18 years. Neptune in Aries will retrograde back into Pisces later this year, and that's a 14-year transit. And then Uranus will be moving into Gemini, which is also ruling over where Pluto is right now. And the Uranus transit is about 7 years. And they are all transitioning at the same time. So enjoy your Gemini season this year, because next year will be much different. It's like a graduation party before heading off in adulting. Things will be more serious and set in stone. So go have some fun and then get that work done. This is for the single ladies out there to find their special person. Always date safely. This means you should always conduct yourself with care and caution. Always make sure that someone knows where you are. If you have a friend who is willing to be a wing woman, that would be perfect. And never abandon each other. No man is worth that risk. If you and your friend come together, you should leave together. Always have your safety routes and backup plans in place whenever you're out late or in a less populated and less familiar area. Know where you're going and what to expect. Watch your drinks just as you would at any gathering with strangers. Any drink that you lose sight of, even momentarily, is off limits. No matter how much money or how attractive that person is, you should never leave with anyone that you just met. Give them the opportunity to see you again. Keep your personal information on private until you have verified their personal information. Public meetings, where you have your own transportation, is always best until you really know someone. You do not want to be alone with anyone you just met who takes you to another location. You have no idea what their plans are or their intentions. It doesn't matter how nice, attractive, or honest looking they are. And definitely do not sleep with them. No matter how attractive they are, it doesn't matter how amazing of a catch they are or how they seem. Before you let them know where you live or come to your home, make sure you have met their friends, done a background check, verified their address, their occupation and identity, and have mingled with people that know them. The bottom line is that you are a single woman who must understand that you are vulnerable when you do not follow your own safety rules 24/7. Trust only when trust is earned. Verify all details and facts before you give someone full access to you, your body and your heart. You may want to consider a background check, some blood work, references and a psych evaluation. That may seem extreme, but you need to realize that just because someone is a great catch on paper does not guarantee their integrity or mental stability. Always date with caution and care, and do not waste your time on married men unless your aspirations are to be a part-time mistress. And for the single mums, always protect your children first and insulate them from your dating prospects. Your children should only meet them when the relationship is serious. You need to realize that when you're in the euphoric state of falling for someone, your instincts will be biased, and without realizing it, you may ultimately disregard the impact a new serious relationship will have on your children. You should also be extra diligent of any men who allow to have unsupervised access to your children. Pedos prey on lonely mothers who are looking for love. Do proper background checks. see and hear red flags, unusual interest in your children at an early stage in the relationship can be cause for concern. This is why you need to be extra diligent in making sure that you protect your children. Make no assumptions that just because someone is a catch, that they couldn't be a predator. 2 female Latina influencers have been unalived within a week of each other. 22-year-old Colombian model and influencer Maria Jose Estupian and 23-year-old Mexican influencer Valeria Marquez. Valeria was unalived May 13th during a live stream by a male intruder after receiving and opening an expensive package at the salon where she worked. Then a female is seen quickly turning off the stream, and this woman is rumoured to be a colleague and in a relationship with the shooter, and posed as a friend to Valeria. No concrete answers. Media's blame femicide and unaliving for gender-based reasons, which is rampant in Latin countries. Maria's death is not listed as femicide, but in countries to be highlighted in the media and compared to Valeria. Maria was unalived May 15th in her home by a man posing as a delivery driver who shot as soon as she opened the door. Police say that they are investigating security video from the nearby cameras. Ladies, please stay safe. If possible, never answer the door to strangers. President Donald Trump unveiled an ambitious plan to shield America from missile attacks by building what he describes as a Golden Dome. Once fully constructed, the Golden Dome will be capable of intercepting missiles, even if they are launched from other sides of the world, and even if they are launched from space, Trump told reporters in the Oval Office. Trump's budget and timeline for the project are ambitious. He told reporters he hoped to have it done before the end of his term. The system would cost around $175 billion, with $25 billion to start construction in the next year's budget. A key part of the Trump plan is to place both missile sensing and missile destroying satellites into orbit above the Earth. The constellations would likely involve thousands of small satellites capable of attacking a missile in the moment after it launches from its submarine or silo. Such a vast network of satellites would have been unthinkable just a few years ago, but it now seems at least theoretically within reach. Elon Musk's company SpaceX has been using low-cost rockets to launch a constellation of internet-transmitting satellites known as Starlink. SpaceX says that Starlink systems currently has about 7,000 satellites in orbit, a scale that is comparable to most estimates of what a limited space-based missile defense capability would require. Space-based missile defense has been a dream of politicians for decades. In 1983, Ronald Reagan announced plans for a system to intercept missiles from the then Soviet Union. In the end, the Soviet Union collapsed before anything approaching Reagan's vision could be realized. But missile defenses have progressed. US Patriot missiles have worked for decades to intercept shorter-range missiles, and the US now has several systems capable of intercepting medium and intermediate-range missiles, ballistic missiles. It also has a small number of interceptors capable of hitting ICBMs during the middle of the night. The capability is aimed squarely at nuclear upstart North Korea. Other countries, namely Israel and Ukraine, have used missile defense to protect themselves from attack in recent years. But intercepting intercontinental ballistic missiles in large numbers remains a far more difficult problem. ICBMs launch from deep inside enemy territory and scream back to Earth at hypersonic speeds, making them nearly impossible to hit. at the end of their flight. They can also deploy decoys that can fool interceptors. The best time to hit them is as they are just launching from their silos, but doing that requires an extremely quick response by space-based interceptors. Thousands of interceptors must be launched in order to ensure that one is passing above a missile when it launches. Whether the technology has in fact arrived is far from clear, and orbital systems could be complex, costly, and ultimately vulnerable to counterattack. The US has recently accused Russia of studying how to place nuclear warheads in orbit. Such a warhead could knock out large sections of any Golden Dome system in space. As the threats facing the US are more diverse than ever, a recent report from the Defense Intelligence Agency shows that Golden Dome would also have to contend with new and emerging threats like cruise missiles, hypersonic missiles that can skim the edge of space, and weapons known as fractional orbital bombardment systems, which, when launched, glide through part of an orbit around the Earth and then attack from any direction. The overall price of the Golden Dome is far from certain. Whilst the President says it could be done for $175 billion over 3 years, a recent estimate from the Congressional Budget Office put the cost at between $161 and $542 billion over 2 decades. Republican Senator Tim Sheehy, who's heading the Golden Dome, recently told a crowd that it would likely cost in the trillions if and when Golden Dome is completed. Okay, this week we will be focusing on Love is Blind, Season 8, and why even the concept of Love is Blind is actually quite dangerous. You see, your senses warn you of danger. 90% of communication is body language. You need to be able to see them to sense danger. Also, you can't smell them. Your sense of smell warns you of illness. It subconsciously lets you know if your blood types are compatible for forwarding the race. Also, hearing through a wall, your voice is a frequency. It changes it, it muffles it. It may hinder you from getting something or sensing something that you need. Just those things alone, you need to be able to see someone and interact with them. You need to be able to look at them as they're speaking to you. You need to know if their movements, their wavelength, their body language is something that connects with you. That's very important. Also, Love is Blind, it fosters the Poke Misha and also the DL dude. Because the thing is, these women are so desperate to be married. And these men are willing to see if they can find someone that will tolerate all of this mess, enter into a contract for life, and they don't have a chance to really know them, which is why they would say yes. In some cases, I'm not saying all of them, because some cases I do support the decisions that they made. I'm talking generalities. It has shown that a lot of these women will tolerate behaviours that they would not or should not tolerate in a normal dating relationship, because they have committed this commitment that they've made based on not all of the information. Yes, reality shows can foster stronger and quicker connections. However, if you don't have all of the information, it cannot be a truly wise decision. Now that the premise already for the most part, it's doomed to fail. You do have those diamonds in the rough, you do have those things that rise to the top. Obviously, there are exceptions, but for the most part, there were so many red flags. Now, we're going to start with the ones that were not in couples. There was Alex, the real estate broker, I believe he was. He was a liar. He was a pretender. He told them what they wanted to hear. Then when he saw value in them, he tried to again be what they wanted until he saw no more value. Then he would throw them away. Then if he saw value again, he would switch it up again. He was a pretender. But he pretended with ones that would see through it. Which brings us to next Madison, the artist. Now the thing is, overall she's a very intelligent girl, but she is quite impulsive and she does call people out, maybe more than she should. But, you know, she might be a little bit of a stirrer, but, you know, at least she is smart enough to protect herself. She does have a good head on her shoulders. She may have some damage and trauma to work through, but on the most part, you know, just the impulse and calling people out to calm down her energy a little bit. Which brings us to Meg and Mason. Mason, another pretender. These men seem to bond together because they felt that similar vibration. Even rode it up and defended each other beyond the person that they were supposedly going to spend the rest of their lives with and make a commitment to. So, yeah, they do bro it up a little bit much on this show, living in those quarters. Yeah. But like I said, it does foster the DL fella to be prevalent amongst the people. And then we have Meg, who, even though she put up a front and on the show, she still was a pick-me-sha, and as soon as she was off camera, lived out her true intentions. And that's how her and Mason ended up back together. And then of course it became incestuous because once they saw each other, of course they wanted to blend. Okay, now this gets to the first no with the couple between Monica and Joey. That was the relationship with the largest age gap, with a 7-year age difference, which normally I would not think age was a factor until you make it one. And both with Monica and Joey and with Virginia and Devin, unfortunately, it did become a factor in their mentality, which did play out in their behavior towards each other. Monica was still on that vibration. I'm going to hurt you before you hurt me. I know what I really want, but if you don't want it, I'm not going to let you know that I want it. So those are some traumas that she has to heal inside. But aside from that, I do wish her luck. Joey, he was afraid of looking dumb, and he was a little bit too femme, a little bit too chill. I don't know if my dial was going off 100% for him, but he probably has some tendencies, and if he got intoxicated. But yeah, that's... if you care about somebody, you will express it physically, especially a man. So yeah, that those do support why I would think that he was on the DL, but aside from that, yeah. Then that leads us to Virginia and Devin, which also was that age difference, but she was older than him, and she kept saying she needed to protect Devin, to protect him, as if she knew what was best for him. And the thing is, when you're entering into a partnership, you shouldn't treat them like a child and try to protect them like that. Unfortunately, trauma does not 100% recognized healed. Devin, although he was youthful, he comes from 3 generations of healed relationships, or at least on the surface. We didn't really delve into their relationships, but they were all still together. And he would have a better idea of what it would take. He possessed the programming for a healthy, healed relationship, or at least a relationship with longevity. He was so incredibly thoughtful and so sweet. He did things. He brought gifts for her without, like, just because. And that's how you should. And because of having those type of relationships that he had to look at, he was more thoughtful, he was more giving. He had a sister, which sometimes can backfire, but in his case, it was a good thing. Yeah, but once you broke his heart, once you break a fella's heart, do not expect him to be the same. Even though he lets you back, part of him wants revenge. Subconsciously, no matter how long it takes. So, be careful before you hurt a fella. Analyze, make sure that you're willing to take the risk that you cannot have him again, because that damage is irreparable, 100%. Okay. Then we have Sarah and Ben. That was an interesting one because Sarah, I believe, she had a logical brain, and it was a pink flag, the trust issues, because not having trust in your partner is, in the beginning, when you don't actually give them a reason, is a light pink flag. She worked through that logically though, but I do believe that she was under the influence of trying to impress her older sister, and until she breaks free from that, her relationships will be doomed to fail, because she needs to have that partner please her and her sister, and that's a lot to ask, especially when they come on trying to make a militant statement when you are just trying to introduce them to your partner. Like, that was a bit much. Even she felt uncomfortable, and this was her sister's partner, so yeah, that was a bit much. When she said no, he said he wanted to carry on, but she cut it off because she didn't realise what she had. Then she wanted to start it up, and she wondered why he strung her along and played her a little bit. Because he wanted to get back at you. Plain and simple. You embarrassed him on national television. You stood him up at the altar, basically. And then you want to ask him to come stay with you? Yeah, you should have discussed it. I don't know. Anyway. Ooh, but then there's Lauren and David. Oh, there are so many flags. And Lauren, do not give him closure. He does not deserve closure. He does not deserve closure. No. When they leave you and mess you up, you don't have to assure him and give him closure. That is pick-me-sure behaviour. Like, the fact that he doesn't trust you, that's a red flag. You should have known that. He was setting off red flags left and right. He didn't trust you. He trusted his fellas over you. That shows that he held them with more value. Here, DL was going off like loudest siren with, what's his name, David? Yeah. Loudest siren of DL is, yeah. He was the classic breadcrumber of, I'm not out, but I'm going out alone. I still care about you. I don't want to end this, but I'm going to leave. I'm going to reassure you. I'm going to make you feel good about it, so you stay hanging on. But physically, I'm going to go do something else. And she fell for it every time. In her face, you could see that she felt. She's like, oh, he cares about me. Seriously, girl, seriously, there are so many things you have to heal. You have to heal. Ladies, you cannot listen to a man's words alone. They know that you fall in love with your ears and you believe what you want to. You will hear what you want to, and they use that. So please, if the words and actions don't align, red flag. So many red flags. And a part of me questions if, since he was so emotional about this person that she was having relations with, did he himself have relations with that fella? Because his energy around that situation was, and the way he spoke about how he knew him, and it was the way he worded it, makes me think that they both hooked up with the same fella, and that's the really reason why he was so bothered. And yeah, we'll never know about that, but if he ever watches this and knows the answer, leave it in the comments. But yeah, and then there's Taylor and Daniel, who I hope last. They're adorable. He's like a Leonardo DiCaprio, and she's like a little bit better looking Kate Winslet. Sorry, Kate. She's beautiful, and they look adorable together. And no, she's not better than Kate. Sorry, I had to remember what she looked like. But they do kind of look like the Titanic couple. But anyway, they had a chemistry that sparked. They got lucky that they looked phenotypically like each other, so that they were comfortable. They had a similar wavelength. They had a similar humour. They had fun together. When she had her moments of slight insanity and questioning him, he handled it calmly. He didn't negate what she was feeling or what she was saying. He just expressed his side of it. He was very balanced in his feminine and masculine energy, and resting healthy in his masculine energy. And the way he was with her, and it might also be because he had a blind sister, he's more sensitive, he's more evolved in that energy and wavelength. She lucked out with that one. That combination of a man is very hard to find. He's a beautiful man, absolutely adorable man, sensitive man, thoughtful man. From what we saw, unjudging man, forgiving man, gentle man, but still strong. She lucked out with that one. That was a good one. The only I don't know if you can call this a red flag, but they didn't consummate the relationship. I don't know. I was waiting. Well, that's a personal information, but yeah, I was waiting for marriage until I realised that I was waiting for somebody who was probably fictitious. So now I'm on the other side of that, where I'm like, that is a big part of the relationship. So to commit for life without finding that out. But hope they're happy. Hope they'll be at the reunion. The ones that I like have lasted, and yeah, hopefully Love and Blind season 9 will have some amazing girls and mostly men that fancy women. I haven't fluidity, pan, whatever, that's fine, but you actually have to like girls. Yeah. So yeah. Let's see who's for the cast for season 9. Okay, so American Idol top 3. You gave me everything I wanted, America. Thank you so much. We had an all-male final 2. And you gave me my favourite, Jamal. You got it right. And to be honest, it was maybe throwing shade. Hopefully not, because Brianna, you are extremely talented. However, if Matty had not had her confidence blown by being in the bottom 2 and gotten it right that first time, the top 3 should have been Matty in the top 3. But she does need some possibly growing and a little bit more experience, and maybe, I don't know if they can go back if they've been in the top 10, but anyway, you'll have a wonderful career, so you don't need it anymore. You'll do great. Jamal, congratulations, you deserved it. Everything you touch is gold, even when you made mistakes. Yeah, there's nothing left to be said. Congratulations to the futures of all of the contestants that came back for the finale. They all did wonderfully. Even the ones that weren't so memorable, they had a little bit of memorability. It possibly is because they were with a star, but who cares? Why the reason? You got a little bit more time to shine. Your career will do well. The transits are lining up for you. Hope to hear some of your work soon. And you made it through. The journey in, you made it through. Just like the stars are saying. So, congratulations.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please help me. Welcome to the stage, Viroga Leilani.
I have one of those names that make people pause and squint at me like they're trying to solve a Sudoku puzzle. I usually follow up with the disclaimer, just like a job, you have 90 days to get it right. Anything close works until then, as long as you try. Don't try to give me a nickname, or just start calling me something, expecting me something that you choose and expecting me to just know that you're speaking to me. Don't speak at me and expect me to know because you're looking at me. Even dogs don't come if you don't say their name. Yeah, my name is so unusual that even spellcheck throws up its hands in defeat. Every time I introduce myself, I get the same look of confusion, followed by the inevitable, how do you spell that? My name is my most spelled word, and that's not by choice. I've got a personalised necklace, but it just makes things awkward with couples because the fella always has poor eyesight. Especially when I have on a low-cut shirt. It affects their vision, apparently. And they always feel compelled to give an opinion. And that's how I know where to categorise them. If they say, oh, that's beautiful, friend, acquaintance, positive connection. Yes. If they say, that's interesting, cool, or neat, then I quickly know they don't speak English, haven't travelled, and would lower my vibration and intelligence. So, sod off. And at least it's memorable and easy to find. At least my stalkers think so.
And check out the latest from Aglorev Entertainment for all of your level up needs.